My son's with me. I am not under arrest for anything.
Why is she under arrest?
You need to get
Why is she under arrest? Can you grab Victor? Can you grab Victor, please? Immediately. Why is she under arrest?
Come on.
Why is she under arrest? Why is she under arrest? Why? Why is she under arrest? 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 Prove it. Prove why she's under arrest. Stop. Prove why she's under arrest. Where is the order? You are not going to order. Victor! 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 Why is she under arrest?
Everyone, you choose her. You choose her out of everyone. You choose her out of everyone. You choose her. This is the face of cowardice right here. Yeah, right here. Bad people. Yeah, look at it. Look at it with the fingers. She's got a baby. She's got a baby. They're arresting. How do you feel about it?
What's going on?
How do you feel about it? Let's just walk around. They grab a woman with a child. Out of everybody, this is fucking shit. This is shit. Out of everybody, they grab a woman. Let it go. Let it go. You know it. Let it go. Come on, please.
I didn't touch anyone. You have nothing to do. You are not. One more round. You're scaring my son. Move away from me and my son. Move away. Me and my son. I've done nothing wrong. Why are you walking around? That is his mother. He needs to be with his mother. Take him alive.
Hello Facebook, hello Australia. Thank you for joining us again today. We have what we are all calling our Aussie hero with us tonight for her first interview after yesterday's situation. Renee is with us and Zev is with us as well. We're just going to allow Renee to tell her story, her version of events, get the truth out there, and yeah, just have a chat about how we're all going to back her up and what's going to happen from here.
Thanks everyone for all your support. I'd like to start with especially you, Monica and Zev. You're amazing. I was so overwhelmed today, waking up with the phone calls, the messages, just being bombarded with such love and support from everyone around the world. Thank you, everyone. It's amazing. I went there to do my exercise my rights. I was just about to walk out the door, and my 4-year-old son says, Mum, can I come? I said, you sure, Isaac, you don't want to stay with your brothers? He said, no, Mum, I want to come. And can I hold a sign up too and exercise my rights? And I said to him, okay, what would you like to put on the sign? And he said, can we put about, can I have the parks back, the skate parks? And I said, yeah, sure. So off we go down the road. And, he said, Mum, what's it going to be like? I said, darling, we're just going to be walking and holding our signs up. It's about people expressing how they feel about the whole coronavirus situation. And look, let's face it, all of our children are aware of it. There's no sheltering them from it unless you live in a bubble. So we get down there. We arrived there at about 2:30, 2:40. Parked at Martin Place, walked up into Macquarie Street, where there was a group of people, a few other people. I thought there was approximately maybe 15, 20 at the time. Walking down Macquarie Street, they too had signs exercising their rights. I had a yellow poster on. My son was holding his up, just with things that were a bit heartfelt. Things I've been thinking about over the last month on what I feel about everything going on in the world and the lockdowns and how, with my own research and thinking outside the box on what I feel about it. And I think I've got a right to voice my opinion. I wasn't hurting anyone. I'm well. I wasn't there to harm anybody. So it was, there was a couple of people there. We all said hello to each other in passing. Police presence were there. They were sort of grouped on one side of the road at the time. A couple of occasions, police moved over to our side of the road, and spoke with a few of us. At one stage, there was even a 10-year-old boy interviewing what appeared to be interviewing one of the police. So it was all really lighthearted, and there was other mums there with prams with young children in them, and they had little bandanas on holding signs, and it was like a family environment. So I felt we really fit in. That was my first ever exercise my rights walk that I've ever done. And yeah, I didn't know what to expect, but I did know and have seen some kids down there. So, I felt completely safe, completely and utterly safe. I was, as the day, so I got there at 2:40. In the interim, police officer had approached me, the female police officer. I think O'Donnell is her name. She stopped me. I've got a lot of it on film as well. Basically saying, look, I need your name. And I said, look, I'm not actually, am I being detained? Am I actually breaking the law? Am I doing anything wrong? She said no to all of those things. And I said, well, I don't consent to give you my name. I said, look, I'm going to continue walking. So I did that. I continued walking southbound down Macquarie Street, turned back. Look, I felt, looking back on it, I was really targeted, and I believe that she was the main instigator of my unlawful arrest. We were sort of wrapping things up to sort of fast forward a bit. We were even along the way, I thought we'll do one more walk down and back up and leave. Even on the way down, I'd spoken to another officer and we were having a chat, and I said, guys, look, and then there's videos out there about it. I've got them as well. So guys, look, I'm here fighting for not only my kids' rights, but your kids too. Do you guys want to hold a sign in support? You know, and remember, you guys are public servants. You're servants for the public. You're supposed to be helping us here, you know, not against us. So I kept walking, and I was a little bit, you know, I had a little bit of adrenaline because I was pulled up by O'Donnell, the lady, a bit prior, and I had the chat with him. So it was like a bit of a release, actually talking to an officer and also being pulled up, and I had a little bit of emotional moment. At that stage, I walked down, I walked north up the street, turned around, and Isaac, my son, said, Mum, I'm tired. And I said, yeah, darling, we're going to go home now. So we walked back south to the street, to the set of lights to cross through Martin Place, because I was parked not far from Martin Place. Walk through, there was a van, a police van, the one that I ended up getting thrown into the back of, that was parked. And I just noticed a little bit of movement happening from the police. I saw a group sort of huddling around near the lights that were walking towards maybe a couple of metres back from there. And a group walked across the road, because all the other people who were exercising their rights were down the north end of Macquarie Street. Basically, the group of police, I don't know how many there was maybe half a dozen, crossed the road and basically did a human blockade on all the protesters that were, the so-called protesters that were down on the northern end, blocking the other protesters from being able to walk down towards me for what was about to go down. O'Donnell pulled me up again and said, "Now I'm going to be fining you." I said, "But I haven't broken the law. I'm actually going home now." I pressed the button to cross the road. The man sounded. I started walking across the road. She grabbed me by the hand, ripped me back up onto the pavement, and said, "You're not going anywhere." I'm pretty sure I was filming at that stage, because I remember on my camera seeing a little bit of movement, me coming back up onto the pavement. Again, I just said, "I'm not giving my details. I don't believe I've committed an offence. I've hurt no one. I've endangered no one. So in my mind, you don't give details if you've done nothing wrong. There's no reason to give your details." That's my belief. So that was my whole point. I'm not going to give you details when I have committed no offence. So I kept saying, no, I'm going home now. And I tried pulling away, and it got rough from there. She started putting her hands on me. Other officers did as well. I don't know their names. And holding me, saying, "We're going to arrest you." And I said, "For what?" There might have been a few things about mention of, COVID. Couldn't clearly understand, because a lot of the other people exercising their rights had now figured out what was happening. There was a couple from the south end of the street, and it all started. I said, "No, I do not consent to what you're doing. I haven't committed an offence." She even told me earlier on, in the first chat we had, "No, you're not being detained," and no. So, that's why I still did one or two more laps of the street. When they had my wrist and they said, "We're taking you, we're arresting you, we're detaining you," my son started screaming. So a lot of what happened in between there and him screaming, obviously I just went into a bit of a meltdown mode. And look, all I can remember saying is, I've done nothing wrong.
Take your time, babe. Take your time.
Yeah, I've done nothing wrong. Get your hands off me. And all I could remember hearing my son screaming and saying, "No, Mum, you're not taking my mum." And they dragged me to the car with him on a koala bear in front of me. This time about 3 or 4 other people exercising their rights had joined in and tried helping out, but there was just too many others. I'd broken free. They were just about to throw us both into the back of the wagon. I'd broken free from them and ran up towards the gates of the actual Parliament House, and I was clinging onto the gates for dear life. I didn't want to take my son to the police station. Like I didn't want to be thrown in the back of a wagon. And then that's when, 3 or 4 of them moved in on me, were pulling me. 2 of them moved in on my son and just ripped him from me. And I just remember seeing his legs waving in the air. Screaming. I was obviously trying to resist at this stage. For those of you who are a mum, you know that no one's going to take your baby, and they did. To be separated from him, that's the hardest thing to deal with. For those of you who know me, I've been through a lot in my life, but that was pretty intense to have your child ripped from you and screaming. Look, I couldn't fight it anymore. It was a losing battle. I just didn't, they threw me in the back. The officer, O'Donnell, actually bent my thumb back so hard. I thought she was going to break my thumb, and I actually grabbed my thumb from her handhold, and I was chucked in the back.
There's actually photos of you where she's holding your wrist really, really strong. Circulating now, yeah, it was. And when your adrenaline's running her so high, you don't realise what's hurting, what's been hurt, what's injured. I've woken up with a sprained ankle. I don't know how that happened. And the side of my nose here is quite sore again. It's probably just from getting thrown in the back. But then so I was in the back. They've locked the door. Luckily enough, I've managed to put my phone in my bra. So that was quite good. And that's where I made the call out posts on Instagram. I don't know any lawyers. I said, please, I need someone's help. First person I called was my husband. But in the meantime, they had Isaac in the middle seat of the paddy wagon. And they started asking questions. And I was banging on the window saying, stop talking to him. I don't consent to you talking to my son and questioning him. Another one of the lady exercising her rights was coming up too, saying, stop talking to her son. You're not allowed to do that. And she was told to leave and move away. So I had a lot of people trying to protect me, and my son at that time. We were vulnerable, we were separated. And he's sitting there with no one to sort of voice for him. And I could hear them asking names and details. I'm not quite sure what else. She then said, where are you taking them, the lady? And they must have said Day Street, Surrey Hills. She yelled at the back to me, they're taking you to Day Street. I quickly phoned my husband. I said, please, hon, you got to get down here straight away. I've been unlawfully arrested. They've got Isaac. They've separated us. You need to come and get him, please. Just get down here as quick as you can. So they took us to the police station. I did the media, the stories on media, just saying, please, can someone help? I didn't know who to reach out to. Can someone help me? This is where I'm going. This is what's happened. And I think I called you, Monica, in the back of the car when I was actually arrived there. They took Isaac out of the car first, and they took him inside. And I said, no, please leave my son with me. You need to leave my son with me. And they just ignored me. They took him inside. I don't know where. They left me in the paddy wagon for about 10 minutes. They took me into the cell. From there, I didn't see Isaac at all. And I was just hoping and praying that my husband would have come to pick him up and everything was going to be all right. I can take care of myself as long as Isaac was looked after. That was my main concern. I didn't know who he was, who he was with. I didn't know where he was inside the building.
We got into the room and they basically said, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? I said, no, I'm not giving it to you. I haven't committed a criminal offence. I've done nothing wrong. I didn't, from memory, I've had no rights read out to me. They ordered me to remove all my jewelry, hand over my phone. I said, why? I'm not a threat. I'm not going to do that. Like, why do I need to take my jewelry off? What am I going to do with it? Oh, it's just order. So they said, if you don't take it off, we're going to force it off you. And they all sort of, again, intimidation tactic, all came in and stood around me. I took it off. I obviously didn't want to be put through any more. I didn't get offered any water in the 4.5, nearly 5 hours I was detained, no water. No food offered. I was left for long periods of times. I didn't ask if I had any medical issues at all, if I was asthmatic, diabetic, do you need any medication? They were just worried about getting a name. Are you okay? Have you been injured while we through the arrest? None of these questions were asked. I didn't get access to make a phone call. I told them twice I need to make a phone call, to legal representation. I didn't get that opportunity. And basically, I was in faith. My son had been picked up. I know my husband would have done the best he could to get down there quick, smart. So I was feeling a little bit relieved. But look, 3.5, 4 hours in, they brought me out. They said, look, you have a phone call. And it was one of the girls, the ladies who was down exercising her rights. She said, Renee, look, I have spoken to someone. Look, just give them your name and I'll let you go. The main officer down there in the watch house said, look, we'll let you go. You just got to give us your name. And I said, but I don't understand why. Like, what am I being charged with? There were so many other people down there exercising their rights. Why me? Why?
Yeah, they've singled you out. Absolutely.
Why isn't the whole cells full with everyone else that was walking down?
Yeah.
Why? Anyway, I ended up giving him my name and he said, all right, we'll get your paperwork done. Blah, blah. Put me back, put me in the cell in front of the sort of the office area. I then realised that Victor had been arrested as well. He's been down exercising his rights down there a couple of weekends in a row. As I said, that was my first time. They had arrested him too, but he, we'll have to talk to him about his charges. But I was then trying to talk to him through, because we were 2 cells apart, and I was trying to talk to him saying, Victor, what are you being charged with? What did you do wrong? Again, just, bullying tactics. One of the young constables behind the desk comes up and says, stop talking. And Victor said, yeah, but we're allowed to talk. Why, because I said so, and, carrying on. And then she came over to me, opened my door and said, if you keep talking, I'm going to put you back over in the other cell. I said, but we're allowed to talk. We're not doing anything wrong, but you're not allowed to talk about what's happened. I said, but that's our own matters. We can talk about our own matters. So she said, get up now or I'm going to have to use force and I'm going to take you back to the other cell. And I walked, so just the whole, mistreatment, didn't just happen on the street. It was inside the watch house as well. But anyway, I was released. I didn't say anything upon my release. I basically just wanted out. I wanted to get home and, they released me with an infringement notice of $1,000. I don't have it here with me, so, but Zev and Monica, you've got that. And that's where I'm at now. No apologies from anyone as yet from any of the disgusting actions that happened to me yesterday. Bit disappointed about that. I just think, it didn't need to happen. I was singled out. I was targeted. What reason? I don't know. First time ever turning up to an exercise my rights walk. My 4-year-old son no, I don't know what to say.
So we're finding the same thing happened again in Melbourne today. There are just a few people that were singled out that turned out quite bad. So there's definitely an issue there. Before we get Zev to start talking his wisdom, I would like to ask what everybody in the country wants to know right now is, how is Isaac?
Isaac's my middle child. So he's very sensitive, and I actually slept with him last night. And when I climbed into bed at 3:30 after my shower, I woke him up. I said, Isaac, Mummy's home. I'm here. See, I'm sleeping the night here with you. I'm here with you, darling. And he woke up and he started talking. He said, Mum, that was wrong what those policemen did to you. And I bit him on the hand. I said, yeah, I think I remember hearing the officer saying, stop biting me, stop biting me. He said, Mum, I only did it because what they were doing was wrong. And then he turned up and looked and he said, Mum, we were just exercising our rights. I just wanted to go back to the park. And I just said, darling. And then he was just reeling off stories. And I said, what happened? Were you okay? Did they give you water? Who were you sitting with? Did they treat you nicely? Just trying to soften it. And I said, you need to go back to bed now. We'll talk about it in the morning. This morning, I bought him a little hammock for a little, he's a child who needs a lot of his own space. I bought him a chair hammock for our outdoor entertaining area. And I was in the kitchen this morning trying to organise myself, and I thought, where's Isaac? And I saw that he'd walked himself outside and just gone and swung in the chair hammock on his own. And I just threw everything down. I ran out to him after I noticed he was there, and I said, can Mummy sit with you? And he said, yeah, Mum, please, can I sit on your lap? And I said, sure thing. And we were just swinging together, and I just broke down crying. And I said, I'm so sorry for what happened to you yesterday. You know you did nothing wrong. You know Mummy didn't do anything wrong. Okay, it was the police who unfortunately, did the wrong thing yesterday. And he said, I know, Mum. And then he went back into telling his stories about the biting. So I'm trying to make him more a bit of a, you were a strong kid, you were a good kid, you stuck up for your mum. The whole world's sending you their love. And, I'm trying to make him a bit of a Hulk hero out of it, just so it lightens his, he sort of, the middle child feels like they get missed out a little bit, but I think he now feels like the strong man in the brothers now at the moment, and his brothers have got his back. We'll be right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Zev.
Day by day.
That's it.
Yeah.
Zev, what's your take on all this?
Well, look, from watching horrible and hearing the inhumane treatment you've been at the hands of, Renee, no one should have to suffer that, especially as a parent. It's beyond wrong. I've got just a couple of questions from watching the video. From what I saw on that, when they grabbed you, you were not placed under arrest nor charged at the time when they apprehended you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's literally kidnapping for you and your son from watching the footage of that. We are looking at some legal options to help you there with making these charges stick. And if the police or powers that be are watching this, it's going to be private personal criminal prosecution and civil action taking place against each and every officer that was present and complicit to these horrible, inhumane actions that you and your family have been put through, as well as unlawful detainment, unlawful arrest, the works, the list goes on. It is staggering. They believe they can get away with this sort of thing, and to target individuals like yourself, like mine was saying, has happened today in Melbourne too. They're out targeting individuals to provoke a response from the public, to try and get these peaceful protests to turn nasty. And what it's done is it's disgusted the public, parents, all three of us are parents, and just heart-wrenching stuff to see, no one should have to put up with that at all. The long list of offences committed by the police, especially since none were committed by you, is again absolutely staggering, Renee. There's a large group of us that have you back here and your families.
and we're doing everything we can to press charges at the highest of levels against every officer involved in that tragedy. And your infringement notice, no issuing officer, that's an absolute joke. It's the paper can't be your accuser. So we'll have that one removed for you real quick. I'm sure that'll be dropped before it even goes to court. And we're happy to help you out with that one. There's quite a few of us happy to help you out with that one as well. Absolute mess. For others watching, just to be careful of how you speak to the cops. I think what you said to them was spot on, Renee, that no, you don't consent. You're not under contract with them. You don't have to comply. You've done nothing wrong, and you're bang on the money. You've done absolutely nothing wrong. And for the people watching it, these COVID restrictions and rules, they're restrictions and rules. They are not law. And it's something we all need to be reminded about here when standing up for your rights and exercising your rights, to ask them what laws are under the restrictions and rules. They're not laws. They had no right to do what they did to you or to your son. No right to, they didn't even place you under arrest or charge you. It was literally kidnapping. Serious charges coming for all the police here, and it won't be on the police force. We're looking at private personal criminal prosecutions and private civil actions against every one of them involved and complicit with that.
Thanks, Zev. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. I mean, otherwise the police officers are going to keep doing this to people who have a right, have a voice.
Look, it's absolutely devastating that it's even have to come to this, because at the end of the day, we're all human. They get their orders just like we're getting ours. But I think that we need to send a clear message to the police that whoever's targeting us with all of these atrocious intentions of what they want to do to us are also targeting them and their families. Police Force Australia, we are your people and you are ours.
Yeah.
If we unite now, we are all finished.
Yeah.
This is a desperate call out, and it's a shame of the avenue that we're about to take on these few officers that were involved in yesterday. But I think it needs to send a clear message that we need to stick together and we need to fight together. We cannot do it. I mean, the government wants us to fight ourselves, and I mean, it's a war tactic, divide and conquer. We're calling on the Australian Police Force, the Australian military, pick your side and make a good choice. Pick the right choice. We are the people. Whatever we feel, you're going to feel. And I saw somebody write something today on Facebook. Let's pretend we are tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. Let's just pretend for 1 second that that's the truth. What is the worst thing that could possibly happen if we are right? Now, ask yourself the question, what is the worst possible thing that could happen if you sleeping people are right?
Yeah, I'd rather be the awakened wearing the
I'd rather be the awake, and we've got family, friends that are all police officers or, serving the public in some way. This is a desperate call out for you guys to pick the right side, because sure as hell you're not going to achieve anything when we're all dead and you guys are the only ones standing under a really, really nasty government.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a question of consciousness rather than just following
100%.
orders. And they made the wrong call yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to hold them liable for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
With with saying that, I have the utmost respect for police. I mean, I've got family in forces. My grandfather is was a retired veteran, and the point is, they were public servants, serving the public. And yesterday, it just feels like it's us, we're the force, we have the power and we have the right, and we're going to make sure you know that. Mm. Where did that come from? I'm sorry, but, I worked in a government job too, for a while there, for 14 months before I had my first son. And you're a public servant. You're not above. You're here to serve and protect and to defend the public. And that is freaking not what happened.
Yeah, you know what? They're getting orders from their superiors 100%, and it's them doing their job. But at what point do you people of Australia actually sit back and go, this is wrong. How can I do this to a fellow Aussie? How can I do this to somebody that's just like me, working their ass off? They've got a family to feed. How could I possibly do this? At what point is your conscience going to kick in? That's especially seeing. I saw. I think it was Craig Cole, the pit bull today, with a gash down his forehead, blood pouring out. I watched the footage of that entire protest today. It was 100% peaceful until it wasn't. And when it wasn't, you saw the media turn on their cameras, start rolling, and you saw the police act. There was nothing that the people did wrong today. They were peaceful, they were singing, and it was all of a sudden as if they were attacked. And again, I've watched the footage. I'm sure every one of us here has. And for those who haven't watched the footage, jump on. It's gone viral. It was a peaceful protest. It was not violent at all.
Well, with my experience yesterday, I used to think, protests, why do they always break out in fight? They're all there serving the same purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's because of the provocation. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I witnessed that yesterday, and I bear witness that that's exactly what happens, because I was there in peace. My son and I were singing Despacito and Waka Waka Air, dancing down the street, exercising and holding our signs. It was probably more of a bonding experience for us before everything happened. So, it's really opened up to my eyes. Like I used to think the police are okay. And this has changed my mind, because there was not one officer yesterday that I dealt with that had any compassion for what I went through.
Gotta say, guys, there are some good officers out there, but they all need to wake up and make that choice. You guys are going to act with conscience. Rather than just blindly following orders. I mean, if those orders were to harm their own kids, I'm sure they all would have, the conscience would have kicked in and they'd have said no. Again, disgusting to watch anyone cop that, especially as a parent. Not on. This is standard tactics from things are getting very close to some serious civil unrest in this country, with people being over the lockdown laws. A lot of people are calling BS on these COVID rules and restrictions. We've got the 5G mess, the mandatory vax. Half the country's up in arms about multiple issues at the moment. We're in lockdown, so we can't go out and protest this, and people are starting to not care. And the police need to be more careful, because they're going to start being held accountable and liable on a personal level for these actions, which are completely out of line, and not to mention absolutely and incredibly unlawfully illegal. Especially for what you suffered yesterday, Renee. You weren't placed under arrest, you weren't charged, you're literally kidnapped. After 4 hours, their duty of care to give you food and water, not adhered to either, didn't ask about if you had any medical issues or anything. That is a massive failure of duty of care on their behalf as well. And they're there to protect and serve. That's their oath. And clearly they didn't do either yesterday for you or your family. Again, they'll be held personally liable for this, for personal criminal prosecution and personal civil cases taken against them for both living and corporate. So they can't hide behind one or the other that way as well. We're just looking at how we can launch the paperwork and stuff for you. I'm in touch with our legal team on best way of going about doing that. And we'll see how we go from there. But they won't be getting away with it. And we've got a lot of support from a lot of people, not just around Australia, but from around the world as well.
I know. I've been getting messages from all over America, London, France, a lot of people reaching out saying that they couldn't even sleep last night. They were in tears and couldn't even sleep after watching it. And that's from strangers. That's not even to mention, my clients, my family, my friends, people that I haven't spoken with in a while. So the support's been amazing. God bless, guys. I really appreciate it.
Look, you've taken one for the team. We've been talking about that all day. You're an absolute trooper. You're a warrior. And like I said, you've taken one for the team. We are backing you up 100%. And anyone else who gets stuck in the same situation, we're all here to help. We are Australians. This is what Australians do best. So,
Monica, just Zev, I just want to ask you a quick question. I don't know if it's appropriate for here. But for people who are wanting to go and exercise their rights, can we maybe just give people a little bit of a brief on what they can, they can't do within, you know, the legal side of things, so they don't end up another case like me?
Yeah, look, a lot of it is that they practice. They'll target, from my experience with activism for many years, they'll usually target the women or the elderly, and they get the blokes like me then to arc up and jump on them. And that's when they go, oh, look, they turned violent. Well, we didn't turn violent. We tried to defend those who couldn't defend themselves because you bastards were out of line and you crossed the own line of your own laws you're meant to uphold. And this is how they provoke us into turning things violent. They'll pick off one or two people or the key people involved in the movement. They usually go for the women and the elderly, knowing the rest of us will arc up. And then that gives them the excuse to come in and get heavy-handed, so they think. The right squad aren't there to stop riots. Usually they're there to start them. And that's how they go about doing it.
Yeah.
They will target specifically individuals that they know the crowd will get upset with for doing that. And they do that in order to provoke us. It's a very tricky scenario. As a parent, for the emotions not to let loose and the adrenaline to spike, and you just want to go out there and go nuts. Keeping it peaceful is often our best way. And reminding them, as you did, Renee, yesterday, again, what they did was out of line, completely illegal and unlawful on so many levels. There are that many charges that are going to be thrown at these guys. It's ridiculous for their actions yesterday. They literally broke every law they're supposed to uphold with the way they handled you and your family.
Yeah.
The thing is just to ask them, and again, guys, they're not laws, they're rules and restrictions. And you need to remind the police calmly, word it eloquently, and do that properly. Ask them for proof. Onus of proof is on the one who makes the claim. If they're going to make these claims, ask them to prove it. Ask them to show you the proof. And if that doesn't work and they do get heavy-handed and grab you, guys all need to know none of this is going to stand in any court anywhere in this country. None of the stuff they're doing with the infringements or the charges of your friend Victor, for example, none of it's going to stand up for more than 5 seconds in any court because it can't. Their actions are absolutely unlawful and illegal, and they will be held accountable for that sort of stuff. Learning your rights, guys, how to speak to the police in a calm fashion like you did yesterday, Renee, as to why we're all outraged. You did it calm, you stood your ground, you asked the right questions, and as I've seen the video, they couldn't answer you because there are no laws that state that, you know. You committed no crime. A crime denotes damage to persons and property. That didn't occur. They've done you with some pissy offence, and your infringement notice doesn't even have an issuing officer. So the piece of paper can't accuse you. You know, this will be thrown out in court in a second. You know, we'll help you with some of the legal stuff on that. That's a really easy one, and for others who are facing the same sort of thing, guys, ask for the proof. And if they do get heavy-handed and throw you in there, it's not going to stand up in court. You just won't have to cop the fines because the fines themselves are illegal, especially the way they're doing them. They don't stand up, and they're literally not worth the paper they're printed on. So just a little bit of ease for anyone who's going through similar stuff there. I've got access to a pretty solid legal network that's been helping with all the 5G mess around Mullumbimby at the moment. We've been pretty effective with that so far. Rock and network that want to help people. That's what we're all here to do. So it's especially for the nonsense that you had to go through yesterday, Renee. It's a pretty solid network of a legal team behind me that I work with, and we're all behind you 200% happy to help.
Thank you. And I think I stress to everyone, if you are going to do an exercise of your right, as I did yesterday, you know, just stay calm because you got nothing to get angry about. It's only going to make the situation worse. You maintain your integrity and your honour with 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, don't let them provoke you. That's what they're there to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Even when I felt like my thumb was going to get broken and snapped out of my joint, you know, I didn't call names. I didn't swear or curse at the police. I maintained that integrity because I'm not there to show foolish actions. I was there for a good cause. So thanks again, guys. Your work's really incredible.
Thank you, and thanks.
Thank you, Renee.
Thanks. Yeah, you're amazing. You've come out and you know you've shared your story, a very emotional story. And like I said, you've taken one for the team. We will help you. If there's anything that you need, just let us know. And same with anyone else. Feel free to ask us questions. We're here to help. Zeb's amazing. He's got so much knowledge and can point you guys in the right direction. So reach out to us. You can find us here on the group, the People's Collective. That's what we are. We're a massive group of people, and every one of us has, a strength that can help somebody with. So
we've all got teams and networks behind us, guys, and those teams and networks have their own teams and networks, and this is what we're set up for: by the people, for the people, of the people.
Yeah. That's it.
So how can we elect you guys for next mayor? Tell me.
No, we're voting. We're voting Zev for PM. That's already been established.
Yeah. So where do we just put the voting buttons down? Because I'm with you, Zev, all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think after the last few weeks, the country's behind Zev. Absolutely, you're amazing. So I think we should cut it off now. We did plan for 15 minutes. I believe it's almost 45 now, but there was a very important message to send there. So yeah, guys, share the video, share the interview, share the information. We'll keep you updated with what's going to be happening with this particular case. A message to the media: you are not allowed to use this video, any part of the footage whatsoever. You reach out to us if you want any further information. And yeah, Zev, if you've got any other messages.
Yeah, look, private criminal personal prosecutions and private civil actions will take place against any media or corporate entities attempting to use any of this footage or edit it for their own agenda or financial gain, as per our disclaimer. And just last one, massive thank you to Renee, true warrior.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on, sharing the story and standing up for your rights and the rest of our rights as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Give that little boy a big kiss from Australia. And stay safe. Try and get some good sleep.
I will. Thank you, guys.
Dev, thanks again, mate, for your time. You're a legend. We'll see you again towards the end of the week.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Good night. Good night, Australia.
Good night.